Hello and welcome to Breezy Chatter. Today I'm going to be talking about the bold and the beautiful, but first and foremost, thank you to those who have subscribed to my channel. Your subscription is highly appreciated, and let's get started. So it looks like all anyone can talk about these days is Taylor and Ridge, and also Douglas and Thomas. So we have Brooke infuriated because Steffi would not allow her to speak to Ridge while he was spending time with his family. And she's so infuriated that she pays a visit to Taylor to tell her that she has to get her daughter under control. And Taylor tells Brooke something that's very important. She told her that it's Ridge's opinion that matters. So she shouldn't be upset about what Steffi has done or what anyone has done, especially since they are destined to be together. So the question is, what are you so worried about, Brooke? And then we have Thomas and Hope talking. Thomas did an excellent job explaining to Hope that they both struggle with the same issues. Brooke feels threatened by Taylor, and Taylor has had to suffer a great loss when Ridge made a very poor decision and decided to choose lust over family. And Thomas also tells Hope that if a missed call is all it takes to create a rift or to destroy what Ridge and Brooke have, then they don't have much. And Hope, although she was not happy that Thomas was aware or was around when Steffi would not allow Brooke to speak to Ridge, she didn't argue too much with him about it. And she wastes no time telling Brooke that Thomas was aware of what Steffi had done. So Brooke, of course, she wastes no time paying a visit to Thomas. And when she comes to the Forrester mansion, she finds Thomas and Douglas, they're talking, and they're having apples. And Thomas is cutting an apple with a knife, because that's how you cut apples. And of course, Brooke wastes no time telling Thomas that he's being irresponsible because the knife he's using is not safe and there's safer ways to cut an apple. And she's always going to be looking out for Douglas. And Thomas told her there's nothing to worry about. He's been cutting apples with a knife all of his life. And of course, Brooke wastes no time telling Thomas that she's aware that he knew about Steffi not allowing her to speak to her husband, and that she's not going to allow anyone to sabotage what she has with Ridge. And of course, Thomas tells Brooke to calm down because she seems to be spiraling. And he also did ask Brooke what the emergency was. What was the big deal? And she explains to Thomas that she was planning a special evening for her and Ridge. And Thomas said, oh, another negligee, and giggles, probably bored out of his mind with those special evenings. And of course she didn't like that. And it stings Brooke when Thomas reminds her that she's not even half the woman that his mother is. And Brooke knows that it's true. You can tell by the look on her face. And while they're talking, Thomas is holding the knife, and he's telling Brooke that her days are numbered, and it's only a matter of time before his parents are reunited. And he is sort of waving the knife around while he's talking, but I think he's just talking with his hands, and the knife just happens to be in his hands. I don't think he poses a threat, but of course you see Brooke, and she's looking at Thomas, and she's looking at the knife, and of course, because of Thomas's history, she can always say that he threatened her with that knife, which is coming up next week. We have Brooke calling Child Protective Services on Thomas and throwing accusations around, saying that he threatened her with a knife. And of course, this is going to create a rift between Ridge and Thomas, and this is going to create a rift between Ridge and Brooke. So I find it so funny how Brooke doesn't miss an opportunity to blame Thomas, to blame Steffi, to blame Taylor for trying to come between her and her husband. But it's Brooke who thought it was a good idea to call Child Protective Services on Thomas and put even more of a strain between Thomas and Ridge. It's really sad because Friday's episode was so good because we got Ridge actually taking ownership for the poor choices that he made when his children were young, how he wasn't there for them, and how he really admires Finn because Finn is a great husband and a great father to his children. And he comes home, he's loyal, he's faithful. And for a split second, it sounded like Ridge was going to say something trashy or negative about Brooke, but he held himself back and he apologized. He apologized to Steffi. He apologized to Taylor. And unfortunately, Thomas, who really needed to hear it the most, was not there to hear it. And instead of Thomas getting to hear that, and he's going to be met with accusations, he's going to be grilled by Child Protective Services either next week or in the weeks to come. And Ridge, once again, is going to be forced to choose between Brooke and Thomas. And that's going to create a rift between Ridge and Taylor as well, because we know that Taylor is going to defend her son. So next week and the weeks to come are going to be so interesting. I cannot wait to see how things unfold. It's going to be interesting to see if Ridge and Brooke split. And will it matter to Taylor at this point, especially if Ridge sides with Brooke? So many twists, so many turns. What does this mean for Douglas? Is Douglas going to resent Brooke for those accusations? Because Thomas has been nothing but a great father to Douglas. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But it's starting to kick up, and I'm looking forward to next week. That is my commentary. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and leave comments. Thank you for your time. Until next time, ta-ta.